Imagine you're walking down the street, minding your own business, when out of nowhere, a random loud noise makes your heart skip a beat. Your brain instantly sends out an emergency alert, and your body goes into full panic mode. This is stress at work, and it's not even the worst part. When you experience stress, your body acts like it's auditioning for a role in a disaster movie. Your heart starts pounding, your palms get sweaty, and you probably feel like you're ready to pass out because your brain has decided you're about to face a life or death situation. Even if all you did was get stuck in traffic, your nervous system kicks into overdrive, flooding your body with adrenaline and cortisol, those lovely hormones that are basically your personal cheerleaders in fight or flight mode. And just in case you weren't aware, this entire process is completely out of your control. Your body doesn't sit you down and ask, "Hey, are you cool with a flood of hormones right now?" Nope, it just happens. Whether or not your emergency is an actual emergency. So, while your brain is throwing an emotional tantrum, your body is preparing you to either fight a bear or run away from one, which, spoiler alert, doesn't always make sense in our modern day world of meetings and emails. This is why stress can cause you to feel totally drained and shaky. Your body has just put in a 12-hour workday for no reason. Basically, your body is having a meltdown, but it's doing it in a way that would make a soap opera look like a documentary. Ever notice how, after a stressful event, you seem to catch every cold that's going around? It's not a coincidence. Turns out, stress doesn't just mess with your mind, it also throws a tantrum in your immune system. When you're stressed, your body's stress hormones, remember cortisol, rise. And it's like your immune system says, well, guess I'll take the day off. Cortisol puts the brakes on your immune response, leaving you vulnerable to whatever germs are lurking in your vicinity. So, while you're busy stressing over work or that embarrassing thing you said at lunch, your body is literally just handing over its immunity to the flu and hoping it won't come back to bite you later. Stress doesn't just make you catch a cold, though. It can also make it harder for your body to recover. That's right, stress can delay healing. If you've ever wondered why you seem to stay sick longer than your friend who's just living their best stress-free life. There you go. Stress is basically a personal assistant for all those annoying germs, making sure they get their due time in your system. It's like your immune system just gave up its job and hired the germs as VIPs. You want in? Sure. Come right on in. I'm too tired to fight you off. It says. So, if you want to stay healthy, maybe try to avoid that drama-filled group chat and take a deep breath once in a while. Let's talk about your brain for a second. It's supposed to be this sophisticated supercomputer, right? Well, when stress rolls in, it basically forgets how to do its job. Instead of calmly handling the situation, your brain acts like it's starring in a reality show where every tiny issue is a major crisis. What's that? A bad hair day. Alert. Code red. Your brain gets so caught up in stress that it forgets to distinguish between real danger and that awkward email you sent to your boss. Stress makes your brain become an expert in catastrophizing, taking a minor inconvenience and blowing it up into a full-blown disaster. This is why you can start stressing over the smallest things, like being late to a meeting, and suddenly find yourself spiraling into thoughts like, what if I get fired? What if I lose all my friends? What if the whole world collapses? It's not rational. It's the result of your brain going a little haywire under pressure. It's like when you accidentally spill coffee on your favorite shirt, and for the next 30 minutes, your brain convinces you that this one tiny mistake is the beginning of the end. It's trying to get you ready for any disaster, no matter how trivial, which, let's be honest, isn't exactly the best way to get through your day without some serious eye rolls. Your brain is basically over-anticipating the worst possible outcome, as if you're about to be chased by a bear, when in reality, you're just running late for your Zoom call. So, next time you're stressing over something small, remind your brain that it's not the apocalypse. There's no need to add extra drama to your life. Imagine you're sitting at your desk, stressing over a deadline, and suddenly, your shoulders feel like they're going to explode. It's not because you've been carrying around heavy bags or lifting weights. Nope, it's stress doing its thing. When you're stressed, your muscles automatically tense up because your brain is telling them to prepare for action. But here's the kicker. You're not actually getting into a physical fight. You're just trying to finish an email without looking like a mess. Your body doesn't know the difference between a stressful situation and, say, an actual life-threatening event. So, those tense muscles are your body's way of getting ready to run a marathon or throw a punch, none of which are necessary while you're stuck in a 2-hour Zoom meeting. Over time, this tension becomes chronic. turning your shoulders and neck into a rigid, tight mess. It's like being a guitar string stretched too tight. If you play one wrong note, you'll snap. Stress does this constantly to your muscles, forcing them to stay in a heightened state of readiness, whether you need them to or not. And after a while, they just don't relax. This is why so many of us end up with stiff necks, sore backs, and tension headaches from nothing more than stress. It's like your body's auditioning for a role in a horror film with constant tension and not in a cool, dramatic way. Next time you catch yourself tensing up, maybe just remind your body it's not about to fight a lion, unless, of course, you work in the circus, in which case, I'd be worried about something else. Imagine this, you're just chilling on the couch, enjoying your favorite show, when your phone rings, and suddenly your heart feels like it's doing the Macarena in your chest. You look at the screen, it's your boss. Panic sets in. Why? Because your body has no chill when it comes to stress. The moment your brain senses stress, it tells your heart, time to kick things into high gear. Your heart rate increases, pumping blood faster to your muscles, your lungs, and, oddly enough, your brain, which has decided this is the moment to prepare for a full-out emergency. But here's the thing, you're not in an actual emergency. You're just trying to get through a 10-minute call about some project, but your body, it's acting like you're facing a grizzly bear. Your heart starts to race, your blood pressure goes up, and your adrenaline spikes just in case you need to, run or fight something. This sudden burst of energy, though, doesn't exactly help when you're sitting still. So, while your body prepares for action, you're left feeling like you just ran a marathon, but you didn't actually move. You're just sitting there, stressing about things that haven't even happened yet. It's like your body's idea of getting ready for a stressful moment is to jump into full action, but it leaves you completely unprepared to actually deal with the situation. It's a mismatch between the emergency your body thinks you're in and the reality of what's happening. And it's enough to make your heart feel like it's about to burst. You've heard it before. Trust your gut. Well, when stress hits, your gut is too busy freaking out to give you any useful advice. Stress affects your stomach in ways that could make you question if your digestive system is secretly auditioning for a horror film. When you're stressed, your body releases all these lovely hormones, and one of them is called cortisol, which is responsible for making sure everything goes haywire. This little hormone can mess with your stomach like a toddler who's had too much sugar. Ever get that butterflies in your stomach feeling before a big event? That's cortisol at work, turning your stomach into a chaotic carnival ride. It's not just the nerves, either. When you're stressed, your digestive system slows down. So, while you're sitting there trying to eat lunch in peace, your body's going, yeah, no need to digest that food properly right now. We need to save all our energy to prepare for an epic battle with whatever stress is coming our way. Stress can also make your stomach produce too much acid, leading to ulcers or heartburn. Basically, your body's decision to stress out is like deciding to throw a full-blown party in your gut with all the wrong ingredients. Acid, irritation, and discomfort. Meanwhile, you're just trying to eat a sandwich without feeling like your stomach is staging a rebellion. So next time your stomach feels like it's throwing a tantrum, just know, it's not your food's fault. It's stress playing with your internal systems like a puppet master. And no, it's not gonna stop anytime soon. You've probably noticed it at some point. When you're stressed, your skin decides it's time for a dramatic appearance. You might have experienced the classic breakout right before a big presentation, or that rash that suddenly pops up for no reason. This is your skin responding to stress in the most diva way possible. Your body's stress response, specifically cortisol, can trigger all sorts of unwanted reactions in your skin. Think of it as your skin's way of showing how much it hates you. Under stress, blood flow is diverted away from your skin to help your muscles prepare for action. And guess what that means? Your skin is left high and dry, losing its usual glow and turning red, splotchy, or oily. Stress also messes with your immune system, causing inflammation, which leads to things like acne, eczema, and other lovely skin conditions. It's like your skin is throwing a tantrum and saying, you wanted stress? Fine, have some breakouts on top of it. But it's not just acne. You may also notice that your skin becomes extra sensitive or more prone to sunburn. Stress triggers your body to release more inflammatory chemicals, which weakens your skin's natural defenses. So, if you find yourself looking like a patchwork quilt of pimples, dryness, and redness, stress is likely the culprit, sabotaging your face as if it's the hottest new trend. In short, stress isn't just a mental game, it's like your body's way of saying, oh, You think you've got it together? Let's see how well you handle a surprise pimple on your nose. Your skin, truly, is always ready to make everything harder. Sleep, the one thing your body craves after a long day of chaos and stress. But guess what? Stress is here to ruin that too. Instead of peacefully drifting off into dreamland, you find yourself staring at the ceiling, your mind racing with every possible scenario that could go wrong tomorrow. And let's not forget the lovely companion that is insomnia, which stress seems to make its best friend. When you're stressed, your body produces higher levels of cortisol, which just so happens to be the hormone that keeps you awake and alert. So, while you're desperately trying to get some rest, cortisol is out there throwing a rave in your bloodstream, making sure that sleep is as elusive as a unicorn. Your body enters a vicious cycle where stress prevents you from falling asleep, and the lack of sleep makes you even more stressed. It's a loop that only a professional sleep therapist could untangle, or maybe an ancient curse. Who knows? But it's not just about lying awake for hours. Stress also messes with the quality of your sleep when you finally manage to fall asleep. Your brain never fully enters deep sleep stages, so you end up tossing and turning, never feeling truly rested. You wake up groggy, your mind sluggish, and your mood as sour as a lemon. And of course, after a few days of this, your body and mind are both on the verge of collapse, because stress has just stolen your peace and your ability to sleep. So, if you're wondering why you're not getting restful sleep, blame stress. It's the unwanted guest at the slumber party that keeps you awake and makes you question your life choices at 3 a.m. Stress doesn't just mess with your physical body, it also plays havoc with your emotions. Like a toddler with a sugar rush. 1 minute, you're fine. And the next, you're flipping out over something so minor that you'll look back later and wonder what on earth just happened. Welcome to the emotional roller coaster that stress forces you to ride. When you're stressed, your brain's amygdala, the part responsible for processing emotions, gets overly activated, while the prefrontal cortex, the part that helps you make logical decisions, takes a back seat. In other words, stress makes you react like an emotional wrecking ball, overreacting to everything that crosses your path. You might burst into tears after a frustrating phone call, yell at your partner for forgetting to take out the trash, or even feel inexplicably anxious about a situation that's completely under control. Sound familiar? Yeah. That's stress throwing all your emotions out of balance. On top of that, stress messes with the production of neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, those little brain chemicals that make you feel good. So when you're stressed, your brain isn't as effective at producing the feel-good stuff, leaving you with more negative emotions than you'd like. Your ability to handle everyday annoyances flies out the window, and what's left is a version of you that's ready to snap at the slightest inconvenience. It's like your emotional thermostat is stuck on scorched, and you're constantly teetering between rage and tears. So, if you're on the edge of a breakdown every time something goes wrong, stress is definitely pulling the strings. Your memory, the thing you rely on to keep track of literally everything. But when stress steps in, suddenly your brain becomes a sieve, letting important details slip right through. Stress turns your sharp memory into mush, and your recall ability takes a nosedive faster than your self-esteem after forgetting an anniversary. When you're stressed, your hippocampus, the part of your brain responsible for memory, gets hijacked by the flood of cortisol coursing through your body. This means when it's time to remember something important, your brain is too busy dealing with the emotional and physical chaos caused by stress to actually focus on the task at hand. You might find yourself forgetting why you walked into a room, misplacing your keys for the 3rd time that day, or even blanking out during a conversation. Stress doesn't just cause you to forget. Either, it can make it harder to form new memories, leaving you feeling like you're walking around in a fog. It's like trying to study for an exam while someone's constantly shouting in your ear. So, if you've ever been in the middle of a stressful day and realized you've lost track of time or blanked on something you should have remembered well, stress is your uninvited guest, causing all kinds of brain mayhem. And, of course, this is just one more example of how stress gets under your skin, leaving a trail of forgetfulness and frustration in its wake. Your brain has literally lost its ability to keep track of things, and you're left wondering where your mental focus went. Spoiler, it went into panic mode, and it's not coming back until the stress is gone. Stress, in all its glory, doesn't just wreck your emotions and body, it messes with your appetite like a cruel joke. 1 minute, you're eating everything in sight, and the next, you can't remember the last time you were hungry. Welcome to the unpredictable world of stress eating, or more accurately, stress not eating. When stress hits, your brain's hypothalamus, the part that controls hunger, gets thrown off track. It either convinces you to eat like you're preparing for the apocalypse or decides food isn't even worth your time. That's because stress affects the hormones that regulate hunger, specifically cortisol and ghrelin. Cortisol might make you crave high-fat, high-sugar foods to help you feel better because sugar is like a temporary mood boost. While ghrelin, the hormone that tells you you're hungry, might completely disappear when you're overwhelmed, leaving you too anxious to eat. The result? You either find yourself inhaling entire bags of chips, cookies, or chocolate, desperately trying to quell the tension in your body, or you completely lose your appetite and forget to eat altogether. Either way, your body is treating food like a filler to handle the emotional roller coaster stress has thrown you on. It's almost as if your brain has decided that the right amount of calories should be based entirely on how dramatic your current mental breakdown is. So, next time you're either diving face first into a tub of ice cream or forgetting to eat for hours on end, just know that stress is playing a very real game with your appetite. And, spoiler alert, it's not even following the rules. Imagine you're sitting at your desk, minding your business, when suddenly, you get a notification that sends your stress levels into the red zone. Your immediate reaction, to slam your phone down like it's the culprit of your stress. Right? Yeah, that's your stress hormones working overtime, and your reflexes turning into a fury of pent-up frustration. When you're stressed, your brain triggers what's called the fight or flight response. Now, this is supposed to help you deal with actual danger like, say, an angry bear. But for most of us, the danger is more likely to be an overloaded inbox or a bad review on Yelp. The result? Your reflexes get heightened, making you more reactive and less able to deal with things calmly. In other words, your body thinks a minor inconvenience is an existential threat, and suddenly you're snapping at people over things like delayed delivery or a forgotten meeting time. Stress makes everything feel like an emergency, which means your brain's reaction time speeds up, except you're not fighting anything real. So all that energy is being wasted on unnecessary irritation, that slow-moving queue at the grocery store. It's like a slow-motion car chase in your mind. That person who cuts you off in traffic, you might as well be battling them for the last lifeboat on the Titanic. It's your body's way of trying to be helpful, except it's overcompensating like that one friend who panics when you lose a pencil. It's just an innocent object, but your stressed-out reflexes act like it's the end of the world. Let's be honest, stress and change don't exactly make great bedfellows. In fact, when you're stressed, any form of change, no matter how small, feels like someone just pulled the rug out from under you. Whether it's a change in plans, a new project at work, or a surprise twist in your daily routine, stress transforms even the most minor of adjustments into an Everest-sized challenge. Stress messes with your brain's ability to stay flexible. The prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that's in charge of decision-making and adapting to change, becomes overwhelmed when you're stressed, leaving you feeling like you're running on a mental treadmill. Every little change feels like a huge inconvenience, and your first instinct is often to resist it. Even if it's something as simple as rearranging your schedule, instead of adapting calmly, your brain reacts like it's under attack. Here's the thing, when your stress levels are high, your body's fight or flight response takes center stage, meaning your brain prioritizes survival over, well, everything else. This doesn't leave much room for calm reflection or adaptability. So, when change happens, especially if it's unexpected, it's like your brain just throws its hands up and goes, nope, I'm not dealing with this right now. The result? Stress-induced chaos. And when you're already in the midst of stress, trying to make adjustments feels like your brain is running a marathon while wearing cement shoes. In other words, stress turns you into the ultimate creature of habit. Even if those habits are doing you no favors, any change, even one that's positive, becomes a mental uphill battle. Ever noticed how, when you're stressed, time seems to either drag on like you're stuck in an eternal meeting or fly by so fast that you're left wondering where your day went? Well, congratulations. You're experiencing the magical time warp effect of stress, your perception of time. One of the few things that should remain relatively stable gets hijacked by your brain's stress response. When stress kicks in, your body releases cortisol, which essentially speeds up or slows down your brain's internal clock. Ever been so stressed that time seems to stretch out endlessly? That's cortisol giving you the sensation that the clock is moving at a glacial pace. You're sitting at your desk, clock watching every second, and it feels like hours have passed when only 10 minutes have. On the flip side, ever been so consumed by stress that you look up and think, wait, How is it 6 p? Already. That's stress making you lose track of time entirely, as if the universe is playing a prank on you. Stress warps your ability to accurately track time because it keeps your mind hyper-focused on the current crisis, even if that crisis is the fact that you're waiting for a response to an email. When you're stressed, your brain's emotional centers take over, and the logical, time-tracking part of your brain goes, "Yeah, not today, buddy." This is why you can go from feeling like you're stuck in the slowest day ever to suddenly realizing you've missed your dinner plans. So, stress has officially turned time into your worst enemy. You'll either feel like you're dragging through quicksand or running in circles, chasing the clock that's always ahead of you. Either way, it's another stress-induced illusion your brain has created to keep you on your toes, just not in a helpful way. So, remember the time when you were feeling totally inspired, and ideas flowed from your mind like a never-ending river. Well, that creativity train comes to a screeching halt the second stress makes an entrance. Suddenly, all those bright ideas you once had seem like they belong to someone else. Your brain, caught in a stress-induced haze, starts to struggle with simple problem-solving and creative thinking. And it's not pretty. When stress takes over, your brain diverts its resources to the survival mode areas, essentially prioritizing staying alive over thinking outside the box. The prefrontal cortex, which is the part of your brain responsible for creativity, decision-making, and logic, takes a back seat while your amygdala, the part responsible for emotional responses, drives the car straight into panic town. This is why, when you're stressed, you suddenly find yourself staring at a blank page or struggling to come up with ideas you know you had just 5 minutes ago. Stress makes your thinking rigid, causing you to get stuck in the mental loop of anxiety. Your brain becomes obsessed with the immediate problem and ignores everything else, including the ability to think creatively. This is why brainstorming under stress feels like pulling teeth. Your brain just can't get into the right state to spark innovation. In a sense, stress is like the creativity thief who sneaks into your mind and walks away with all your best ideas, leaving you with nothing but a fog of uncertainty. So, if you've ever felt your creativity evaporate under stress, know that your brain is just too busy reacting to drama to remember how to make things up. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.